they reach out.
They have to look at, that's what they rely on to reach a decision.
Perfect. This is my exact point here.
Okay, now I understand.
Thank
So
you.
all the evidence that's presented is what they will rely on to come to a decision. They'll review the evidence. They might review what I said in my brief. Sometimes my brief is not comprehensive. I didn't address on everything. But they will, they were, one of them was a seasoned accountant. For instance, you had so many accounts. They didn't need a brief on the accounts. So they will go through the accounts, form their opinion, right? Persona non grata, they don't need to consult me. They've seen all the evidence. So they don't need to consult me in making a decision. That's what I'm trying to say. This report is the commission's report. The three of them appointed by the president, working together, came up with this report.
Thank you, Chair.
Yes.
I think, yeah, I think we can close it here.
I think Honorable Mr. Jame is satisfied now.
I'm very satisfied.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Ma.
Okay, you're going to close. There's just one thing I would like to raise, if I may. With your permission and with the greatest respect, I must say that thank you for really giving me the opportunity to speak at length. You know, I teach, so I tend to perhaps talk too much. I just want to sound a note of warning, and I hope it will be taken in good part. You do have your mandate, and I've raised this, but I'm not going to raise the very issue that I raised before. I'd just like to point out that we are all working, all the committee, not we, but the committee, the Commission of Inquiry, this committee, and the Commission of Inquiry are all working within a constitutional framework. The Constitution set up the framework for commissions of inquiry. It sets up their powers, their duties, and how their duties could be assigned, and what powers they have. Insofar as the decisions of the Commission of Inquiry were concerned, they were appellable to the Gambia Court of Appeal. So if they are not appealed against, they are binding, and therefore nobody can overturn those decisions. You can criticize them, but there's nothing you can do. But because the decisions are there, that's the order of the commission. I have a sense of discomfort in a committee of the National Assembly bringing back commissioners who are functus to ask them to explain what they did. It's like the committee is setting itself as a body that can review the work of the commission. And I think we have to be very wary of going down that path, because these are voluntary, commissioners volunteer. They are not paid. In fact, there is a specific section in the Commission of Inquiry Act which says that they cannot be paid any remuneration. They can be reimbursed. So what they are given is an allowance. So it's entirely voluntary. They are not paid any salary. And whatever they paid, it has to be by a warrant of the president. It has to be approved by the National Assembly. I cannot remember whether this was done or not. I think we have to be careful that we do not what we do does not operate or have the effect of becoming a disincentive to public citizens serving commissions of inquiry. We have to be one. Secondly, I think the legality of some of the things we are doing, the constitutionality of what the committee is doing is important. I cannot conceive any situation in the laws as they are that would give the National Assembly the power to set up a committee to review what a commission of inquiry does. It's not in the law. And so we have to be also very mindful of that. Thirdly, I think also, finally, I won't keep you here. As I said, the commission is functus. They are done. This is historic. Whatever they did, they can be criticized. Okay, they didn't do this, they didn't do it. But these are private gentlemen and a gentle lady. In my submission and humble submission, they ought never to have been brought before this committee to explain what they did and did not do. As far as the assets are concerned, that's a different. I am different. I'm not saying I shouldn't be brought back, because I was hired. My salary, I was being paid money to help the Commission of Inquiry. You can summon me. and ask me questions. I have no problems with that. But I don't think I am in a different category from the commissioners. Um, Certainly, if the commission made orders, it's just like court, they made their order is the same, has the same effect as an order of a court, the judgment of a court. If a judge makes a judgment, there is a whole apparatus that should enforce the judgment. I do not conceive of any committee calling a judge to come and explain their judgment. You won't do that because instinctively we know that that cannot be. So I think the same privilege ought to be accorded to commissioners. But if they did make orders, and they did, in terms of sale of vehicles, I think those who were responsible should be should be investigated. How was it done? Who was responsible? Rather than was the order proper? Because the order is binding. Proper or not, it is binding. Because it has the same effect as a judgment of the court, of the High Court. So these are some of the comments I wanted to make. I thank the courtesy that I have been accorded, both from council and from members of the committee. And I do apologize if I was a little bit, perhaps at the beginning, impatient. Let me use the word impatient. That I appreciate that you're trying to do the best you can under the circumstances. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Ms. Bensouda. We appreciate your coming. Of course, I think your testimony will help this committee to have a conclusion on our report as well. I wouldn't want to comment on the other issues that you talk about. Yes, I know the commissioners who sat before this committee, we as a committee did not fault them. I think it came out of the public concern. And of course, bringing commissioners to come and help this committee to get information about what happened. And if I am correct, that was the basis of the committee. So that was why when we brought the chairperson and then the other commissioner, was just only for them to support this committee to get information. So that, you know, what is going on, what is circulating, you know, all around will be cleared as well. Of course, the National Assembly will sort that out. So we appreciate a lot for the concern that you've raised, and we will take note of it very seriously. And of course, we will do the right thing as well.
What is circulating? But Mr. Chairman,
the
elephant, sorry, no, I'm not asking a question. That's rhetorical. The elephant in the room. Nobody asked me whether I bought assets, how many cows I bought, how many vehicles I bought. That is also circulating. You don't have questions about how many assets I bought? I was waiting to be asked.
You are being asked now. Did you buy any assets?
You don't have evidence that I bought assets. I thought you were going to put evidence of the number of cattle I bought and the number of vehicles.
Honorable?
Yes.
I want to state clearly for the record and categorically that the National Assembly and this Special Select Committee in particular does not focus its work or does not lay its focus on or rely on rumors or the questions out there, whatever it is that is out there, to when it brings witnesses to testify. What the committee and the National Assembly as a whole relies on is the evidence that it has received forms part of the public record, public documents, but also when it started inviting witnesses, asking for what they have and doing its analysis. And that is what led to every single witness that has sat in that chair you're currently sitting, or those that testified online. It's the evidence that led us or led this committee to invite those witnesses to come and clarify or answer questions. It is not because of what is being posted on social media or traditional media. None of that's not what the Assembly would rely on. And to even think that the Assembly would rely on what is posted on social media or what is in the traditional media, it's very, I wouldn't want to use the word, it would be disheartening to think that anyone would think that the only reason some witnesses are brought before this committee, it's because something is posted on social media or something is said on social media. Any question that is asked here is objective, and in the 4 or 5 days that you've appeared before this committee, if a question about your role or whether you've purchased any assets did not come up, it's because the committee does not deem it relevant to ask. And it's because also the committee has not seen, or in its analysis and its gathering of evidence, has not seen anywhere where you've bought assets. And to be very fair to all buyers, we've had a couple that have testified, and the reason they have testified is to determine or ask what the sale process was like from their perspective, so that the committee can understand more what the sale process was, but not to witch hunt buyers or to go after buyers for no particular reason. And another thing I want to say is that it is agreed between you and this committee that part of the mandate of this committee is to look into the sales and disposal of assets. And in looking into sales and disposal of assets, we have to look into the process in which the sale happened, right? So for cattle and vehicles, cattle in particular, there was a High Court order that preceded the establishment of the commission. And then the commission made an order and then deferred to the High Court. So of course, questions would be asked on that, for clarity to be gained on that particular process. Same for vehicles. There was a High Court order handing the vehicles or putting the vehicles in the custody of the Registrar General, and then the commission investigated how these vehicles were bought, and then eventually personnel from the commission were given an order to go and sell these vehicles to preserve the value that can be derived from those vehicles. So that is the reason why questions are asked about the process. And as lawyers, we know that for any question to be raised or anything to be done, especially, I can fully remember that, but the Honorable Justice Mahani would say in evidence classes, you have to lay the foundation at all times. And in order to lay the foundation for questions being asked or for such an inquiry, we have to start to look into the process. And that is why questions would be asked of what is the establishment process? It's not to be malicious to any person or any institution that took part in the establishment of the commission, aided the commission in its work, and even towards the end in executing or carrying out the recommendations of the commission, in which the government accepted through the white paper. But it's just to follow, to make sure that everything that's being done, it's clear. Clarity is what the assembly wants, and that is what the assembly is going after, and clarity is what we hope that when the report of the committee is finally tabled before the assembly, that we hope that everybody, including everyone that worked with the commission or everyone that is working with the committee and the general public and Gambians at large, will gain that clarity so that whatever is out there can be laid to rest. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you so very much, Council. It was good that you clarified.
So I had 2 questions for the witness. I don't know whether Honorable Chair has making some. Honorable Fofana, I know you have to go to FPAC. I have to be there as well, but please.
Honorable Council.
It's very short. A very short question.
I'm afraid
The first one is
I'm afraid
actually is one question, actually. Can I go ahead? Please, one question, please.
You can go ahead.
So, Ms. Bensouda, this question is tapping into your experience as a state law officer when you worked at the Ministry of Justice. In your experience there, you've stated here in your introduction that you worked at the Ministry of Justice for more than a decade and that you subsequently did become Solicitor General. There's a question that has been hovering on my mind since the work of this committee. And I just wanted to ask, in your time as Solicitor General at the Ministry of Justice, I don't know how long it is, maybe it might have been a short duration, you let us know. Were you ever involved in land transactions, as in the Solicitor General selling land on behalf of the government?
Selling land.
Yes.
As Solicitor General.
Yes.
Selling land on behalf of the government.
Yes. Is this something that you've ever experienced?
I can't remember. I do remember that the Ministry of Finance can be set up to sell land because there was a point when I think the thinking was that instead of allocating land for free, land should be sold.
Okay.
But if I recollect also, there was an issue with what happened, and then there was the Mahoney Commission to actually investigate how the land was sold from the Ministry of Finance.
Okay. But never the Ministry of Justice.
Ministry of Justice doesn't have a mandate to sell land.
Thank you very much.
The Ministry of Justice will prepare legal documents, but the mandate to deal with government assets usually floats between the Vice President during that period.
Yes.
Like all mortgages would be signed by the Vice President, and sale of land is very rare. As I said, this was but that would be signed by that would be the Ministry of Finance that would sign the agreement. But preparing agreements, yes. Of course, perhaps you're asking about privatization?
No.
Okay.
Yes. So.
And I was Solicitor General for 4 years.
For 4 years. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. You have a follow-up?
Yes.
Okay.
But if
Mr.
you wanted
Chair.
to say something, then maybe.
No, nothing related to
the question.
I don't think so.
Okay. Just the last one, I promise, Honorable Chair, is that the process of selling land for government, and we can see that in the reports of the Commission, particularly is it Volume 3, if I'm not wrong, which deals with special landed.
All land, yes.
Yes. The landed properties, the volume that deals with that of the report. There are recommendations for landed property to be sold by the government, which the government to some extent has accepted some of these recommendations of the Commission.
Yes.
Now I know the report is the report of the Commission, but
yes.
As counsel for the Commission, perhaps maybe you can help this committee gain clarity in what was the Commission foreseeing when it came to the process of selling land? Is it just to gain what the government of the Gambia or what the state had lost through the actions of the former president? And secondly, the propriety of selling land, government selling land. Who do you think should sort of take ownership of the process?
All right. First, the Commission did not tell them how to do it because they expect the government has its processes and it will deploy those processes. During my time, as I said, Ministry of Finance was responsible for government assets.
Okay.
So no asset could be sold without the Ministry of Finance. They should sign the agreement.
Okay.
No loan can be given without the Vice President because the Vice President was responsible for loans. But portfolios are assigned
responsible
for loans.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Because these were usually staff loans. But it's the President who assigns portfolio.
Yes.
And he can decide to assign a portfolio to anyone. But in regard to what would happen, the Cabinet had to set a process. But that is what I would expect, that the Commission had made recommendations and Cabinet should set a process as to how those recommendations should be implemented.
Okay.
And I hope that's what they did. I hope so. At least the president, because you know the president accepts the recommendation, but he goes
Yes.
takes it to cabinet.
Yes.
When cabinet acts as a body,
Mhm.
and they should set a process because it's a this commission is a one-off thing. It's not a routine thing. So government would not have had a procedure in place for implementation of the reports of such a commission. But government is government. It sits and it maps a procedure, puts people in charge of it, and then the procedure should follow, because it has to be legitimate, right? It has to be legitimate.
Okay. Thank you very much. That's
Thank
it.
you, Mr.
That's it.
Chairman. I'm leaving here relieved that there is no evidence that I sold any or bought any land from Yaya Jami, and I want everybody to hear that, because, yeah, neither I, nor my family member, nor my lawyers in my firm bought or sold assets belonging to the ex-president. Mr. Chairman, am I right?
Certainly, certainly.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Bensouda. I'm not sure we're going to keep you long again. We appreciate your coming, like I said earlier on. It was good having you for the past 3 or 4 days, I think.
4 days
4. Good. Thank you.
altogether.
We will not keep you long. We will have to release you to go.
Thank
And,
you.
Yeah. So I'm not sure. Maybe council. We don't need Ms. Bensouda again. Maybe.
As far as he's pulling your legs, but no. If we ever, in our analysis, maybe if we come up with something we need clarity, we would probably
Certainly.
just write.
Certainly. 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 Thank you so very much.
I'd be
Ms.
happy
Bensouda.
to
Or
do.
maybe if she goes back and reflects in her own time that there's something she needs to provide for the committee, explanations or whatever, she's free to do that. 'Cause,
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, Ms.
Very
Bensouda.
well.
Thank you. You're released. Have a good night. Thank you.